probably should have done really early on, but this is my experience wearing Luffy's straw hat over the many years. And the reason I never made, my experience talking about this was because I never thought, it was necessarily a video I wanted to make, but I want to start off with today's story and then go off of from start off from what inspired me to make this, and then we're going to go into like the years I spent and all that other sort of stuff. But I'm going to share the stream first, so let's do that. Okay. So, I am back. Let me talk about what inspired me to create this video. So, I was basically chilling. I got up, I grabbed my orange hat in the room, and I basically went out, go check the mail. And as I was coming down the steps, I see a man coming out of his blue car, literally just a second ago, like 5-6 minutes ago, rocking a Luffy straw hat. And it's one of the Luffy straw hats when Buggy stabbed the hat through the middle here, and it has Buggy's like 3-line shit on it. And I know how expensive that hat is because I am a Luffy straw hat enthusiast, and I'll explain how I became that a little bit later on, but or much later on in this video. But I remember seeing that, and I remembered looking at it, and I was like, that is so fucking cool that other people besides myself rock Luffy straw hats, as they're a part of their actual style, not just trying to wear it to, because they show the love for the show, but it's like they just want to wear it, and it's like that is so fucking cool because I would have loved to be around more people like that, way back in my day, when I was starting out. But after seeing that, I went to the mailbox, lived my own life for a bit, but on that entire journey down there to the mailbox, I couldn't stop thinking about that man's straw hat, saying that is so fucking cool, seeing that. Like, seeing somebody wear the same shit I do in person, not like over the internet, like I see on YouTube sometimes, or at cons, like literally in person, I saw that shit, and it was so fucking cool. I really, really liked it. I didn't think I'd be like going ballistic about it, but here I am over here. And anyways, so I got back from the mailbox, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna hop on stream, I'm gonna sit and talk about this because I think this was fucking cool, and I really appreciate that stuff. Okay, but anyways, so let me go ahead and talk about what I mean. How did I become a straw hat enthusiast? How did I do? Dude. Really? Man? This man is interrupting my experience video right now. Bro, what a fucking... Bro, Lou. Come on, man. Wow. Anyways, as I was saying, so, as I'm continue talking, so this is before, like, I'm this age now. I'm going to talk about all those years back right now. So, when I was a little kid, okay, hold on. I remember that, okay. I remember I never watched a whole lot of anime, and I was getting into Dragon Ball, I was getting into Naruto, and I was like, yo, I found this show when watching DirecTV one day, and, I found the show One Piece, and I remember One Piece back in my early Santan days was one of my favorite animes of all time, if not my absolute favorite, because it overcame Dragon Ball at a point, right? And I just kept watching it, watching One Piece over and over and over, and my favorite character obviously was the main character, Luffy and shit, and, because of that, I wanted, going into my years of loving One Piece, I wanted a straw hat, And this is where it kind of begun. Like my favorite type of hat, instead of being like the snapbacks, or whatever I wore back then, it became the straw hats once I started to actually sit down and wear them. So when I decided to wear this hat for the first time, I obviously did it because I'm a big fan of Luffy, and this is way before the live action movie, so this is like, all of it was like based off of my love for the anime and the anime moments and whatnot, and I was a huge One Piece fan, so I just loved it like immediately, right? And I would wear this straw hat, like, not this one in particular, but I'll explain like the multiple different hats I went through here in a minute. But I remember I first got my first ever Luffy hat because I think I asked my dad for it, I asked my parents for it, and they bought me one. And my mom and dad, they decided to buy me the cheap, really, really yellow, like, Luffy straw hats you see at Comic-Cons and conventions, like, all the time. And I remember, back in the day, I'll just take over there. You don't have to worry about anything. I'll get off your shit and all that. Just don't worry about anything. I'll just sit here. I need to sit down anyway. Hands hurting my towel. But anyways, have a good day, bro. Have a good day, my man. See you on the flip. But I don't know if you guys would get like a visual of the yellow straw hat. By the way, thank you for 3,910 subscribers. I appreciate that. I just saw that on my big screen. I very much appreciate that. But anyways, so I remember basically my dad got me the yellow straw hat, and the yellow straw hats from the cons, like I said, were not very good. They would fall apart very easily. I remember going outside in rain multiple times and crying that my straw hat got destroyed, because when you're a little kid and you wear straw hats, a lot of those straw hats are just not going to last, and I was wearing this every single fucking day. I remember going to middle school, high school with my straw hat because I just loved One Piece so much, right? And it wasn't just my, well, for the most part I am. I still cough, and I still have my nose still fucked up, but for the most part I don't have a fever and all that other sort of crap anymore. But I can move around, I can walk around, do stuff, but I'm still coughing, I still got a blow every now and again. But for the most part, yeah, I'm pretty okay. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So those straw hats would never last me very long, and I remember I would cry at my dad because the strap broke, or I was so rough with it that it broke, or so much straws would fall off. And I even remember wearing a straw hat, like a Luffy straw hat with the shit, like the brim cut, because I cut it thinking, the Luffy straw hat was like smaller for some reason at a point, and it was a whole thing there, like back in the day with those yellow straw hats, man. They were so bad. And I remember this, someone fucked with me back in the day too, and they tried to take my shit away from me, like my straw hat away from me. I'll use it as an example, this one, even though I didn't have this one until like 2017, so much later in my life. I would actually get really pissed off because, and yes, fun fact, there was a lot of people that saw me in school wear this, and some of them knew it was from anime. Other people just saw me and made racist remarks. They called me Curious George, for one, which is extremely fucked up. When I wore the really, really yellow one anyway, they called me Curious George, and people said, yo, you look fucking cool. Other people, again, called me that name, called me all that shit over there. And then you got people that really liked my hat to the point they wanted to wear it or even snag it from me and just wear it for themselves. Be like, ooh, I'm cool. And some people like to try to take it away from me without asking me. And I remember, like, for a long time, I really hated that. And I remember, I think even Nick tried to take it one time, and there's many other times that I do remember and really do not remember, so bear with me here. I'm going off of memory here when talking about my straw hat and stuff. But yeah, I remember after, like, my yellow straw hat phase was over, I remember I got either this hat or a different, like, tanner one that wasn't like this Justine one that's lasted like the longest. But I remember I got another straw hat. I think that wasn't this one, but it was more tan like this one, but I think a little less tan. I could be wrong. And I went to Comic Cons, and all those Comic Cons I always went to, you know, I would always look around, seeing all these all these people wearing straw hats, and I'm sitting there like, ugh, they're wearing that disgusting yellow one I used to wear. Man, if you don't get the tan one, bro, to represent, like, New World Luffy, that's crazy, bro. Like, get a better one for yourself. You don't look like that, bro. Come on, bro. If you're gonna dress up like Luffy, get a better straw hat. That straw hat needs to be a fucking quality, man. Quality straw hats. Not no bullshit quality straw hats where it's like, okay, the straw is good or something. Get a better straw hat for yourself. Yeah, that's right. I was a straw hat enthusiast at one point where I'd be sitting there judging everybody's straw hat, see if they were really fucking good. And I remember at Comic Cons too, I remember people would walk up to me and be like, yo, that is a damn good straw hat. What the hell? How'd you get that? That looks really accurate, man. And I'm sitting there like, man, I got it from Justine or whatever the fuck, or Etsy or whatever the fuck place it was called. You know, I got it from there, man, and I like yours. I like yours a little bit. I see you actually got the color right. It's a tan straw, which is really cool. But I'm telling you guys this as well. There's a lot of One Piece straw hats that just look wrong, even though they got the color right, the tan right for New World. Something about it just seems off. And by the way, welcome Lucas to the stream. And Leary, Ellery, Leo, also welcome as well. My bad for not saying there anything. Also, Eric, what's going on? My bad for not saying nothing. Every time I see Luffy's hat, I always think I'm Monkey D. Luffy and I'll be king of the pirates. Yeah, that's fair because Luffy says that a lot in the show. All right, but other than like my Comic-Con moments, I remember like actually like stop. I actually like at a point multiple times really, but this point especially, I remember for a long time. I was wearing Luffy's straw hat because I love the character, and I love like the story that, you know, obviously the straw hat came from and stuff. See? Still got the cough, right? I love it for all that. But I remember a big point in my life, right, was I stopped liking One Piece, but I loved wearing this hat still, right? And I remember it was a big period in my life where I would just rock the straw hat and people all around me just accepted me, man. And it was like, it felt like this straw hat became a massive part of my character. Because you wouldn't see me not wearing it. Like every piece of clothing, you would see me rocking it on my head, around my neck. You would see me wearing this every single day. Even in videos on this channel, you see me multiple times have this around my neck or on my head when making videos and announcing it to people. It was so fucking cool. I love that era of my life. But I started wearing it more than just because I'm a fan of One Piece. I started wearing this because I started to genuinely fall in love with the idea of wearing straw hats more than snapbacks and, like I said, a lot of my other hats. So I would sit here and prefer these straw hats. And there also was a period in my life where my family had an issue with me wearing this straw hat. And I know this is very old beef, but yeah, get this. I think it was Kelvin, I think Tracy, I'm not too... Actually, my dad has been embarrassed at times when I was wearing this, and I would always tell them all, guys, let me be me, basically. Like, what? You got a problem with me wearing this? Does it embarrass you that bad that I am wearing this? And keep this in mind as well, right? This is in a time when anime was cool, but, like, at, like, conventions for the most part for most people. Like, when we go to Comic Cons and anime cons and all that shit. That's where, like, most people would wear this stuff. And, you know, my family were thinking, like, if you wear that, you're constantly looking like you're cosplaying or something or whatever. And there were times, in my life where I would just have to tell them, this isn't just me cosplaying. I'm actually wearing this just to wear it like I would wear a snapback, you know? And for a while, it took them a while, but like everyone in my family just eventually just accepted me wearing a straw hat in my videos, like just everywhere I went. And my friends accepted it. They knew I was cool. They knew me wearing it was cool. They knew it was Luffy's straw hat, but they also just recognized, oh shit, who's the only kid in campus who wears this shit? Alan. What the fuck? Dude, I wore this shit, I think the same day I beat up, let me roll that back real quick. My bad, that was a mistake. No, I don't think I wore it that day. But you get my point. I wore this shit through thick and thin every single day. Unless it was raining outside, then I would try my best not to wear it. But there were so many times where it was raining in there, and I would just sit here and wear my straw, because my straw, again, was my favorite hat of all time. And I wasn't wearing it because of Luffy anymore. I was wearing it because it just genuinely became a part of my own style of wear. And before then, I wasn't really seeing anybody rocking straw hats like I did, and for the same reasons as I did. The only times I would see people rocking straw hats was because their love for One Piece, their love for, Luffy as a character. And after I felt like I sort of transcended that and just started to just love straw hats in general, I remember there was a point in time in my life where my dad, after I lost my last straw hat, I remember, I was really upset about it because I lost my straw hat before this one, and it's either that or it started ripping, breaking, or getting destroyed or whatever. What's up, Ben? You smell straw hats? Yes, I have one right here. I remember, like Dad said, well, too fucking bad, pretty much, right? Basically, my dad, felt for me a little bit. Well, not just a little bit, a lot, because obviously Dad cares about me, right? So we tried going through so many replacements, it wasn't even funny. I remember there was this Malibu hat, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. There was, I think a military hat that had this same sort of vibe to it. Basically, we tried so many hats that had this same vibe, and it just never worked out. It just never worked out. I just went wearing no hats, no snapbacks, no nothing, other than, the Heart and Soul character snapback, the blue snapback. Other than that, I wouldn't really rock anything. I would just be normal, everyday occurrence Alan, right? Where, you got just big old afro head, whatever. Until that fateful birthday back in 2017, I think I had over, $100, and it was near the end of that year, or 2016 going into 2017, and a day before my birthday, or on my birthday, I received the straw hat I wanted from Justine, .com or Esty.com, but Justine, I think, was the company who made it. The material is 100% raffia straw. So this is a raffia straw Luffy straw hat, and ever since I got it, yeah, $110. I think it was $110, $120. And ever since I got this back in 2017, I haven't needed another Luffy straw hat since, because the straws on this have lasted for such a long time. And I remember there were so many times I put a hole in it like this, and I had to pop it back out. I ran it over with my chair one time, and I would get so sad. And there's just so many memories I have with this thing. I think I took this over when I first met Nick, and I was wearing this around my neck when we went on that trip to go get ice cream. And I think Nick texted me right here, over here on Discord earlier. I gotta check that out. There's just so many memories with this thing, and I fucking love this thing. And this thing and I have become so iconic when it comes to YouTube.com, because ever since 2017 as well, keep this in mind, there were so many people's first memories of me. And when they watched me, they would see this hat on, I'm gaming it, I'm wearing it, or I'm making a vlog, or I'm making my experience of something else, and you would see me wear this in so many of the videos. Literally my first ever my experience from 5 years ago, you'll see me with the straw hat on, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but you could see me in the straw hat from 5 years ago, and my hair was like bushed as fuck. Or most of my fucking early vlogs, or some of my later ones. You know, you would see me wear this thing, and I would wear this thing ridiculously. Now, over time, I would chill out and shit, you know, from wearing this, and I would go to snapbacks and other sort of hats in the meantime. I just never forgot this one. I mean, people would never let me forget about this straw hat, because people actually liked it when I rock this shit in my videos. You know, when people ask which hat was the best for me, some people would say, most people would say the straw hat, because it's the most iconic, it's the most nostalgic, like, hat I ever wore in my videos. And nowadays, and this is so cool, other than that time, like just now with when I was going out for the mail and seeing another person rock, not the same straw hat as mine, but a little bit different straw hat, but still a Luffy straw hat of mine, IRL, in 2025. So fucking cool, by the way. I'm starting to see different types of YouTubers come out of the woodworks and start wearing this shit in their videos, on their streams, and all that other sort of shit now, more than ever before. And it makes me so happy as a person that has been wearing this straw hat, not just because of Luffy anymore, but just to fit my own style for so many years, just to come out, you know, and see that there's also more people coming out and wearing the straw hat because they like that said style with their fits too, you know, or maybe they are just wearing it because they love Luffy. I don't fucking know, you know. Again, I like Luffy, but nowhere near as much as I once did, like over 10 years ago, you know. But like I said, it's just so cool to see that now, and because of that dude outside I kind of, not interacted with, but I just kind of saw him as I was passing to the mailbox. He really, I don't know if Dude can hear me, but if Dude can hear me out there, I don't know if he's still out there or shit, he probably drove off already, but fucking, he decided, you know, he just inspired this whole little trip down memory lane type my experience for me, man. And which do you like more, Luffy or Naruto? That is a good question. It's a tough question, because I love Naruto a lot, too. When I talk about Naruto one day, part 1, like, as of my experience, one day, I gotta talk about those animes. Those videos are long overdue, because I made one about Storm 4, never made one about the shows, because I think Ronnie wanted to do videos about the shows and shit, but that video ended up getting deleted, so I might have to do one about the Naruto show or something, like Naruto Part 1 or Part 2. Just talk about moments, not quickly or something, but just sprucely throughout that video, the openings and all that other sort of stuff. Maybe I'll talk about like Naruto Part 1, then maybe make a video for Shippuden, then maybe make a video for Boruto. I'm not sure, or maybe we just make it in one big video with chapters and all that other sort of shit, so I can just get it done right then and there. I don't know how to go about that. Just remind me about a Naruto video, and who knows, I might just make a thumbnail right now after this one and probably save it for a later occasion. I'm going to be so real, because I need to get on those Marvel ones. I need to get on those Marvel My Experiences, because I think I need to do Avengers with Nick, actually, fun fact. But my tablet's kind of low, and I kind of wanted to make this one short. But yeah, that's kind of my story with me and rocking straw hats over the many years I have been rocking them, you know. There was a lot of good times, me rocking the straw hat back in the day, all those really bad straw hats, just loving One Piece, loving my hat, loving my life, loving that this has become a part of my style. You know, my family wanted me to kind of change my thing and stop looking like a child, apparently. Like, that was a weird era, but I appreciate it anyway. They were just looking out for me. You know, them accepting that I'm going to rock this shit for a long time was really, really cool. Me getting a new one back in 2017 was fucking cool, so I can rock this stuff again. The grand return of this straw hat was amazing. You know, especially that little moment I had out there earlier that inspired this entire video was really cool. Seeing people at Comic Cons and being a sort of Straw Hat enthusiast was really cool. Seeing how this hat came from fucking, I think it was Islam, or no, I think it was Israel that this hat was shipped from all the way to America, which is fucking crazy, by the way. Fucking, I think it was Israel. Either Israel or another place that it got shipped from to here. It was insane. It took a long time, too. But, man, I fucking love this thing still, man. And I wouldn't trade this one for the fucking world, man. Like, this one's not for sale. And sadly, I did at one point look up if there was any more of these, and I was actually down to actually spend money, even some of my YouTube money, if it still was up by this time. But what ended up happening was when I tried to look for the same Straw Hat on Etsy again after buying this one, sadly, the person who made these sadly went out of business, sadly just stopped selling these altogether, got rid of his page in its entirety. So this is a rare thing that I have on top of my head right now. Like a rare type of Straw Hat. And I could not be any happier. And also, there are also like other people in the world that also have this type of straw hat. I'm not like the only one, but it is pretty rare, and I think only a few hundred people in the entire world have a raffia straw hat, you know, in their sort of collection. And I'm not gonna come out here and say I was the only straw hat enthusiast in the world by any means or any sort of way. This is just how I grew up with the straw hat in my life, and I wanted to but just give y'all a history lesson about this straw hat. And I can't believe it, but 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and now we're in 2025. That's about pretty much about 9 years I had this straw hat alone. 9 years. So think about the other ones that didn't make it past, like, this straw hat. I had those, like, 12 years ago, 11 years ago, you know, fucking 13 years ago. I've been wearing straw hats for, I think, 12 to maybe 13 years of my life, if I want to really go there. From when I got back into One Piece, I think back in, like, 2000... like 10, maybe 2009, 2011, 12, 13 maybe. I was getting into, maybe somewhere in 2014. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know it was like fucking when I was getting into Dragon Ball Z and trying to discover other anime. That was like when it kick-started my love for Straw Hats and Luffy and all that shit. It's making me want to go read One Piece. But yeah, man, I just want to give y'all like a cool little my experience and stuff and about my straw hat, just to show this hat got some love from you guys. You guys love this thing, and I love this thing still. And don't worry, I take a really good care of it. I try my best not to let any straws rip. There has been, like, you'll notice this one hole right here. Other than this one hole out and it being pretty soft in this general area, my straw hat for the past, you know, again, 9 years has been in really good peak condition. Nothing crazy has happened to it since, and I'm glad nothing's happened to it. And in the future, if something does end up happening to it, you know, I'll just find another one that's just as good as this one, maybe even better. But yeah, guys, that's my experience with my straw hat over the years. Let me know if y'all have ever rocked a Luffy straw hat as long as I have, or maybe even longer than I have. And tell me your stories about y'all, like, first ever, like, Luffy straw hats, and have those straw hats that y'all have worn carried you over the years, or did you throw yours away? Did it become a part of you like me? Like, did it become a part of your overall style of wear? Like, for you, like, how, like, I just want to know so many people's stories on this, because I'm very curious after explaining mine. I want to know down below in the comments when this gets actually uploaded. But yeah, guys, again, my bad for making this video way longer, like near 30 minutes or about 30 minutes. I just really wanted to talk to y'all about this because I'm just very passionate about it, you know. But yeah, anyways, like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share the video with your friends. Again, let me know the tales of y'all Straw Hats. God bless you all. Hope you guys all have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, and funny, I never made a My Experience on Mario Sluggers. I'm going to have to make one. Funny enough, I never made one. So, I might have to make one.